They say there's a stretch of Highway 36 where it's always deserted, day or night. The asphalt is smooth, dense forest presses in from both sides, and cell service disappears for miles. A truck driver once drove through there late at night, hauling cargo. Fog crawled along the road, headlights cutting through the white haze. Exhausted, barely keeping his eyes open, he noticed a woman standing on the shoulder. She wore a white headscarf and raised her hand. He figured you don't leave someone stranded in a place like that, so he pulled over. She got into the cab and said nothing. She looked young, but her face was hidden, either by shadow or the scarf. Out of habit, he asked where she was headed. Her voice was quiet, distant, as she said, "To the bridge." They drove in silence. Then the cab filled with cold, his breath turning to fog, even though the heater was on. He glanced at the mirror. She was there. He looked again, and his blood ran cold. The scarf was gone, and there was no face at all, just empty mist. He swerved, nearly losing control, slammed the brakes. He turned. The seat was empty. Only a damp mark remained on the floor mat, like melted snow. The next morning at a gas station, he told other drivers. They said she always asks for a ride to the bridge. 10 years ago, a semi crashed there, and a woman died. Since then, she appears at night. Anyone who picks her up feels freezing the whole way, and anyone who takes her to the bridge soon faces misfortune. Ever since, drivers speed through that stretch and keep their eyes on the road. This happened in the winter of 1993. Times were tense back then. I had a brand new car and needed to drive to Chicago in the middle of the night. The temperature was well below zero. I made a firm decision not to stop for anyone. People disappeared on highways back then, even over old cars. The road was empty. Cell phones were rare. Then a thought entered my mind. Not a voice, just a thought. You'll pass the turn, then another one, and there will be a car with hazard lights, and you will stop. I argued with myself, thinking there was no way. I kept driving. One turn, then another, and ahead, blinking lights. It was a semi-truck. A figure waved frantically. I told myself I wouldn't stop, and still hit the brakes. The driver ran over, followed by a woman holding a bundle. Inside was a newborn baby. The truck's engine had seized. They were freezing and terrified. I drove them home. The woman was crying, but the baby was fine. She asked for my name. Years later, I understood. That night, she was praying the way only a mother can, and I was forced to stop. I call it a miracle. No angels, no visions, but a real one. They say there's an unnamed bus stop at mile 55 on a rural highway. An old, rusted shelter where buses never stop. At night, someone sometimes stands there, and if you pull over, you won't leave the same. A truck driver nicknamed Nail was driving through on a freezing winter night. The road was empty, the radio crackling with static. At mile 55, he saw the shelter and a woman standing beside it. No hat, a long coat, a bag in her hand. He slowed down and asked if she needed help. She didn't answer, only slowly pointed toward the forest. There, in the snow, a red light flickered. He walked over and found a car in the ditch. No one inside, just a child's toy and a woman's scarf. When he turned back, the shelter was gone. He climbed into the truck and saw the woman sitting in the passenger seat, still, cold, not quite alive. He jumped out, caught his breath, opened the door again. The seat was empty. but a clear handprint remained on the glass from the inside, and from the radio came a whisper, "Mile 55. Don't drive past." He never took that road again. But sometimes at night, he thinks he sees a woman's face in the mirror,